And we are live now. Hello, everybody. Welcome again to a brand new episode of the Ultimate Cloud Learning Show by your favorite cloud learning platform, K21 Academy. Today, we've got with us one of the most experienced cloud professionals out there as a whole. He's got 25 plus years of experience in the IT domain as well. He's currently the director of cloud strategy and architecture at, again, one of the biggest IT firms in the world, Wipro as well. Especially if you are somebody from India, you have gotten a soft spot for this company in your heart as well. So we've got him today with us. Thank you very much, sir, again for taking the time off. And we are ready to pick your brains, especially on the multiple years of experience you've had till now.
Thanks, Shivans, and thanks, team. Happy to be here, and good to see the great efforts actually for the cloud community. I really like it, and happy to come here, interact, and interact with the community.
Thank you very much, sir. Guys, before I start on, if you guys have any questions for sir, please do put them in the comment section. As we go, I'll be picking them up one by one. And you can ask your questions. Try not to be very technical, but even if you're asking that, we'll try to pick them up if we do have time at the very end. So I'll start now. So we'll start with the with one of the most, I think, the very basic question and that everybody of us wants to know. Director of Cloud Strategy and Architecture at Wipro is, in itself quite a huge thing and a huge responsibility on your shoulders as well. But what was your career journey till you got to this point? Where did you start, and how was that like?
Right. To start with, it's almost 26 years back. If some of you looked my profile there on LinkedIn, on any social media, so I'm not very new, right? So I started my journey just after doing the electronics and instrumentation, industrial instrumentation engineering. So I'm graduated in 96, and in electronics and industrial. So that's why my first job, it was in electrical instrumentation. It was
Mhm.
fascinating job, in the industry. And to be honest, I disclose it today. The way saw my first job is a 500 million lab.
Okay.
So where I could do my job, and also I can learn and build the future. So that's the way I saw it, as a very fresh engineer, with not so many options which you guys might have now. So I'm talking long back. Good for me, actually. I learned there, putting in the industry, doing the electrical stuff. And also in my job, I got the opportunity to actually come into the IT accidentally. So
Okay.
that was just an accident, where and that's quite interesting story. And you might also feel good. So that time it was, I mean, that was altogether different time. I don't know how many of you are aware there, that for getting antivirus, somebody has to travel for 400 200 kilometers in a big floppy drive. So that was that time. What was that incident is, due to some reason, that plant, there was some issues in the system. And I could, by luck, I could resolve that. And then I started to see on the IT side of the word. Then I moved into the, in the later career, I came to the IT, moved into the different roles, different countries, um, and then came to Belgium in 2001 from US. I came here for 2 weeks, but again, 2 weeks are not over after 21 years. So I settled down in Belgium. I live in Brussels with my family and kids. And this part of Europe is great, I tell you.
Glad
Uh,
to hear that, sir.
and what else? Yeah, about what are different roles that I have done in so many years. So I have done the technical role, techno commercial roles, um, and leadership and the management roles. Managing teams and the business units to leverage best of the IT that can provide to the business. That involve leading the architecture, the enterprise architecture, the data architecture, the databases, disaster recovery, leadership, etc., etc. Yeah, so
Okay.
that was very much summarized journey. You know.
Okay, sir. So, like you mentioned as well, now it's almost 26 years or so that you've been in the IT space as a whole. So, what you've seen it transform over the years. So, what transformation things that you have personally experienced that in these 26 years?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like um, it's like that time where IT systems used to be distributed. The distributed in the small data center or the server rooms. So that was whole what we say legacy now, right? And legacy is where more it's more lethargic. The lethargic way of working is is a legacy. So that was actually past. Then subsequently, the business changed, right? From offline to online, from days and months to the clicks and fraction of the seconds. So now from there to here, and where we are now is where we see data all over. The data is there, right? uh, so I would say that from being lethargic to being descriptive, diagnostic, prescriptive, and futuristic, that's where we are, right? We have so much data now. I was reading somewhere, and you would be very um, excited to hear that how much data that we are generating now every second. All the humans, all the animals, including, we have a per head data of 5 MB per second. That's a huge
Oh,
data that
wow.
we are dealing with.
That's a lot of data.
And that's where the career journey is, right? For many of you are in the early phases of the career, and you see that such huge data is generating now. And you have to design the solution, you have to build the solution such that which is the right combination of the architectural components in the IT, right? So that you can do the right computation, you can do the right diagnostic, create the right sort of analytics, and get the insights of that data. That's all the IT is now.
Okay, okay, that's quite insightful as a whole, sir, as well. So, guys, Indrajit, the first question that you've asked, I'll be picking them up. I'll pick them up as we go as well, because I've got a similar kind of a set of question on the same lines. And as for Satyan So's, individual learning plan, he's got a blog as well, quite an interesting blog on Medium. You can go and check out his profile where he is kind of in detail in a diary format. He's talking about his own career journey as a whole in a more detailed approach. So I'd highly recommend you to go and check that out. In that particular blog, I believe your question of what was his learning path like or learning plan like, you can sorry, you can get that answer quite briefly over there as well, right? So
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm presuming that you are not much experience in the journey, and you are starting on the cloud. So just to give you some background, for me, the cloud, I did not plan for cloud. That this is all when you keep your eyes and ear open, and you see that where are the opportunities coming. And that's where I highly recommend that maybe today is a cloud, maybe tomorrow there is some other variation of the cloud or non-cloud technologies, because the things are changing so fast. So is your career. So when you plan something for today, your career will start tomorrow. So in during that time, it's a dynamic, so keep your eyes and ear open, what's happening more, and then accordingly align yourself. What we'll need is to get a very good foundation, Yeah, good foundation. Like I tell you one example. You work in the cloud, and before cloud, that was not a drastic change, right? It's the model
Okay.
change, is the new services change, but the fundamentals kept same, is still now. You are building a highly available environment, you are building a, the secure environment, the cheaper environment, and the price and architecture. So this was altogether all same. So when you learn, you see that there are window of opportunity in something which has come new. You can learn easily, right? So
Okay.
that's what, if you see my cloud journey, if you see that, the portal was Shivans is mentioning, you try to align themselves, so I did not start in cloud. I start in the legacies, then I try to do best in the legacies, and keep learning and keep learning. So that's where I would also highly recommend you that, irrespective of which role you are, okay, so many of you might be the CIOs or CXOs. So irrespective of whichever roles that you are, keep try to focus on the learning. You set some time so that that time is just for you and for for the new things that you learn. Yeah, that.
Definitely. So quite an apt kind of observation on that part. So moving, kind of elaborating on the cloud aspect of your career as well. You've cleared almost, I think, quite a lot of certifications as well. Recently, I think you posted about almost doing, I think, 12 AWS certifications to your name as well. So what, according to you, is the role of certification in an individual's career, and is it a necessity or is it a must for anybody who's just starting out their career?
Right. That's a very good question, and a lot of people, they have the same doubts. Why do I certify? Should I certify? Should I take experience first and then certify, or whether this there makes sense, to get certification at all? So these are really very frequently asked questions, and a lot of people, so my view is, number one, uh, as you see, the way of learning is changing now. So what I mean is, the university or the formal educations are getting more and more obsolete. Yeah,
Yeah.
so now you see the companies, many companies, I hear recently that they don't need any degree or diploma. So what they need is basically the skills, where you can go and you can contribute from the day one. So in that, certifications really help you, okay, because you don't need to travel for hundreds of kilometer, and spend years and years in the formal education. But this is a, sometimes it's a quick fix, and but also at the same time, when as fresher, when you do the certification, maybe you get some picture, but you don't get the right picture. What I mean is, when you certify, is good that you got the theoretical knowledge, but try to get experience, right? So when you get the experience, you will get a very good combination of the certification and also experience. Take for example, like, you I mean we go to any surgeon like cardiologist. What would happen that if you come to know that he doesn't have a degree? So that's where the certification is, at least that comes into the place where you get eligible for taking, day one on, in this case, in the cloud. So yes, certification are useful, but use it wisely with experience.
Okay, so in a way, you are kind of mentioning that certification is kind of a, validation of sorts to the skills that you have, but you certainly need to have the practical skills to, support that certification as a whole in the industry.
Yeah, validation, you can say. I mean, in my case, I came from non-cloud background, right? And then I did the cloud certification. And how I challenge myself or the validate is, for example, in I was one of the earliest security certified, for example, in Belgium. So in that, I don't know, 2016 or 17, and when the certification came, and that day I remember that I had 9 hours back to back, three certification the same day. So it is just how you challenge yourself. I don't recommend this is a good way, but at least if you know the fundamentals, then I don't think it is going to be a challenge to get certification also. But yes,
Okay.
they need a hard worker. Some of the certifications are really, when you click submit, and you don't know what will happen. These are very hard certificates, some of them. So don't take it lightly, if you decide to take it, right?
Okay. Okay. You also like talked about in the previous question about the college degrees or university degrees now becoming, or college education as a whole becoming obsolete. So do you think in the current, in the new era that we are kind of getting in, where online platforms just like K21 Academy as well, who have online courses, who have hands-on lab associated with those courses as well, do you think there's going to be a point in the future where there's not going to be a need of a degree as a whole, maybe a master's degree, maybe a bachelor's degree as a whole, to be able to get into the tech industry?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, especially after this COVID time and all, I see the clear indication where the learning is learning, objective learning, which is like why you want to learn, right? So if you are targeting on certain skills already, then there are ways and means where it is actually easy to learn and also easy to build the career, because these skills are in very scarce skills. We need so many, there are so many roles, open positions that market have in all sort of the cloud leadership position, the management position, the administration, the starting position, the beginner level positions. The market is very much adaptive, and this a huge demand, and that market has to fulfill that demand. So why not? I definitely see a sign that where the formal education is going to be outdated as yeah, as quickly.
Okay. Thank you very much for the answer. Now I'm going to ask you a question which is one of my favorite questions to that I personally wanted to ask as well, and kind of a controversial one as well. So you have kind of done certifications on all the four major clouds. That's Azure, Microsoft Azure, AWS, Google as Google Cloud, as well as Oracle as well. So which one do you? And I'm pretty sure someone who is working at a capacity just like you, being the director of cloud strategy and architecture, you must have worked with almost all the four clouds as well. So, what do you think is the best one out of the four, and how do you compare all these four according to you?
So your question is, which is the most difficult, or
Which one is the most the most efficient, the best cloud to pick if you are kind of as from an industry standpoint of view, if you're trying to get into cloud as a whole to get the services now indulge into your business as a whole, whether it's Azure, AWS, Oracle, or Google?
okay, okay. Probably I'll not name one, due to obvious reason, because I deal with all of the cloud providers. But let me tell you this, that there is no preference one over other. um
Okay.
like if you see AWS, Google, and Azure, almost they have a growth of 40%, near 35 to 40%, which is huge. And it's converting a lot of actually the the outcomes in the career, the all sort of salaries, or the rates that is the market. So for me, I don't have any preference. I mean, the weightage of all the cloud providers are same.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So for career perspective, if you started to learn AWS, do it. Just take one cloud, the second or the third will follow automatically, because it's not a big difference between the concept of one cloud with other. So my request is, or my recommendation is, um, do one, learn one as a first step, and then expand your knowledge and experience into the second. In my case, I started with AWS because I started actually in 2006, somewhere around Christmas 2006 and early 2007. So at that time, there was no other option.
Okay. So like at the very moment, if somebody is trying to get into the cloud as well, should they know the basics of all the different clouds, or should they be a very niche-oriented, kind of a cloud professional as a whole, that they should only focus on maybe AWS or maybe Azure only, or should they know and should they have a very broad aspect of the knowledge in terms of the different clouds that are out there?
Yes, Ivan. So, uh, depending on, okay, so if you are new, uh, that is where you are, you would see on the high level, and what cloud can offer, how it can enable the business, how is what are the different things which non-cloud, I mean, what is the differentiation over the non-cloud, those things. And if you're already in infrastructure or in the application modernization space, and you know that how, other than cloud, those things and the services and models they work, then it's time to go deep. Maybe coming into the more deeper architectures, like not just the 2 3 or T3 architectures, but also the newer ways to configure the application, newer ways to build the applications, microservices, for example. So the is endless, right? So it is endless. Be comfortable in one space, then move to the other.
Okay, so okay, so sir, you have yourself done a few major certifications as well. So, some of the certifications which are quite popular in the industry as well, cloud industry as well. Primarily, it being solutions architect. You've done both the associate level as well as the expert level of that certification. And again, it is one of the most demanded jobs out there as well. Primarily, cloud solutions architect. I want to know why there is such a huge demand out there in terms of this particular job role as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the architecture, right? Like you see, just compare the scenario of the real, uh, the buildings, the real architecture, not the IT architecture, but outside of, when you when there's a building made, there's a building project is made, the very first step is you go to the, get the blueprints, right?
Yeah.
So that is the first step, and the most important step to build the foundation. Same thing applies in IT. Exactly the same thing is in IT. When the enterprise create the foundation, they'll need where, who will design it, and
Hmm.
those people who design the architecture and the blueprints are the architects. So they are one of the key people in any cloud team. Yeah, where they listen your requirement, what are the business they need, what's the business requirement, and they will build something. So again, the second point is, everybody wants a good architecture, right? But
Yeah.
how many people want to build a Taj Mahal? Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is like, what is your requirement, how many floors you want, what is your budget, how much security you want, what is the performance, where are your resource located, which preference, what's the different architecture that the enterprise has. So these all the possibilities or the parameters, the architects, they take it, they analyze it, and they give the solution. Okay, you need, for example, this ERP, you have a budget of 12 million, I propose this solution. You have this, I have the same kind of solution, but with a scaled, and here's a solution which is a 34 million or 40 million. So that's where the role of architect is very essential in any organization now. It is a very key role.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how can someone have a very successful career as a whole, becoming a cloud architect according to you on that part? What are the essential technical skills initially, and what are the, I believe a lot of people that kind of miss out on the on being a cloud architect is you also have to be a people's man or people's woman as well, who manage teams well as well. So what are those skills like according to you?
Okay. Okay. So number one is the people aspect. I see that actually, and I know actually quite very good architects, and they really don't like to involve with the people skill. I mean, that's also some preference, individual preference, but also on the other hand, I know few very good architects or the industry leaders, and they like to work with a lot of people. So this is more individual choices, right?
Okay.
uh, However, to be successful as an architect, uh, it's a kind of job where you don't just start to work as an architect. You need to have some baggage, before you come to that state. So I find, many architects, they started in the DevOps, for example. They built something, they were programmer, or even they were, in the application side. They learned, they worked there for 8, 9, 10 years, and they find comfortable with the infrastructure. Then they come and they are cloud architect on the infra side or application side. So again, my as my response is, from day one, one cannot be architect, but he can target to be an architect, and he can keep learning, because in the practically you have to deal with the different configuration, the enterprise, the what is your business, where would be this component will fit into. So quite a lot things that you need to have in the experience as a as a baggage, I would say.
Okay, so okay, 100% agree, because we have had people who have who are currently now working in the cloud solutions architect domain as a whole. They also kind of had the similar kind of career trajectory that you just mentioned as well. Like they initially working as a DevOps engineer or maybe a software engineer, then they transition into the space of cloud solutions architect. So, guys, whoever is watching currently, if you guys have any questions for sir, please do put them down in the comment section. So I'll try to pick them up as we go. I've picked a few, and we'll continue to do the same as well. So, sir, you are the director of cloud strategy and architecture again at Wipro. I think I mentioned it a few times, but it is quite an important part of the of my question coming up. So, what do you think? Like, I believe it's you are the most perfect person to ask this question. What is the future of cloud like according to you?
The future of cloud, actually, that is just started, and how I say is, uh, take the IT business. Okay. uh, the IT spending on the cloud is touching $500 billion each year. Well, it is in between to 400 and half a trillion, but you see the huge spending, and those spending in cloud will go to, of course, to have the foundational and the components, the technical components, architectural components and elements, and also on the people side. So when it comes to people side, as you already know, there's a huge demand, and that will continue. In my opinion, it is going to continue for many years.
And
Yeah.
so, how do you think like the demand is going to transform? Is it going to be, because I believe with the kind of addition of blockchain as well, a lot of things are now kind of becoming different in the industry as a whole. So, what do you think are the changes that are coming in the future of the cloud industry as a whole?
Yeah. So again, why, take the basic question, huh? Let's step back and think on why cloud, for that matter, is needed. The cloud is needed because your business is changing rapidly now. When you shop something, when you buy something, you don't go to supermarket. Now you just want to order in a, in the e-commerce, and you just want to see few clicks and you get the things delivered. So business is changing. That's why the way of business is also changed now, and that change is provided in a agile way, which is possible at the global level by cloud. It is just on the foundational level. And what's more, when you have, for example, hosting, this is the infrastructural hosting is on the cloud is much simpler. And also on the other side, you are able to build um, much much variety of the architecture, right? As I say that, if you have legacy, if you have, sort of n-tier application, or if you microservices, or newer things like, on Kubernetes, or some of the decentralized services like edge devices. So it is what actually cloud is enabling that way of doing the business,
Okay,
right?
so I believe that kind of kind of put things into perspective quite well as a whole as well. So when you're trying, because you initially mentioned in your certification answer as well that there are some certifications which are quite difficult. So before you kind of get onto that path that okay, I want to clear the certification, you need to make up your mind that there's going to be quite a preparation associated with that as well. So when you go for this certifications, I believe that you're bound to fail at certain points, no matter how much, maybe it's lack of preparation, maybe it's something else, lack of practice or something like that. So have you kind of faced that failure when you were attempting any certification exam?
Oh, you mean whether I failed?
Yeah, where you were not
Oh,
able
yeah,
to clear
yeah,
the
quite,
certification.
quite a lot. Yeah, quite,
So
quite a
so
lot. And that's why if you see my blog, and all the times I failed, I put it in the red, and you could go and see that I failed quite a lot times. And some of the very easiest certification also I failed. So no worries. If you fail fast, then learn, relearn, and then retest.
yeah,
So
that is one of the things that I wanted to get into deep as well. It was one of the blogs that kind of popped up the first, like one of the earlier blogs that I read on your profile as well. So tell us a little about that, because you also have mentioned that when you face a kind of a failure in your life, you need to go through this kind of framework that you had put up. So what is that like? Let's hear it from your end directly.
yeah, let me share you actually something. Um, there used to be a certification in AWS. It's Alexa developer certified specialty. So that certification, many of my friends actually, when they took that, and for them it was one of the easiest.
Okay.
uh, I took, I failed badly. Then I told her, why is that so? It's more like a multimedia stuff, and why did I fail? Then I came back. Then I tried to get a lot of new learning in that. Then I went there after a few months. I failed again, and more badly than the first time.
Okay.
Okay, then I thought, okay, maybe it's not my type of thing. I will not go. I'll not give. Then one day I was reading, and what I found that AWS decided to discontinue that certification. Then something happened. I told, okay, let me try it again. And then third or fourth time, actually, it was the last day of when the certification was discontinued. I think around midnight. Then I appeared there, and fortunately, I got it. So
Okay.
sometimes you don't know But that's how, these certifications are, right sometimes. So if somebody fails, no need to worry. That's common and it's very normal to fail.
Okay. So, we've got a few questions from the comment section as well. We'll pick them up one by one. So, first we'll pick up one from our YouTube channel by for web. Guys, the next time you have like kind of creative names in terms of your channel name, please do mention your name in the question as well, so we can directly address you like that. Okay, so the question
And
goes
also,
like, can
Shivans,
yes, sir.
can I see the audience also? I don't know. Is there a way I can see? Because
I don't. I'm sorry, sir. I don't think like this particular platform
okay, okay,
allows
okay.
that.
No, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, so I'll get on with the question. The question goes like, can cost savings be the only justification for a move to any cloud from an on-premise solution?
Yeah, just repeat it again. I just could not hear the first part of the question, Shivans.
Okay, no problem. So, can cost savings be the only justification for a move to any cloud from a on-premise solution?
Uh, well, it is not. It is one of the criteria, the cost saving. Uh, but it is not always the cost saving when you move to the cloud. Let's be clear. Okay. So when any company and any enterprise go to the cloud, the very first step what they do, and I'm telling you practically with looking on how that really works. So the very first thing is there's a business case that they create. Okay, so the business case is that is around, for example, you have a on premise, what are your expenses, how many how much is diversified is your IT landscape, IT horizon, and to keep that IT landscape, how much that you are spending. Then drill down to that spending. uh, what is the labor spending, how much you spend in the licenses, how much is other sort of power equipments, etc., etc. So that drill down, and many of those is actually inbuilt in the cloud. Then you create a delta of or the pros and cons of what you are paying on premise and what you are going to pay on cloud. Okay, so that business case will have price as one factor. The other factors are, for example, the security, the velocity or time to market of your product or your platform, and the velocity, like speed. For example, you want to set up the DevOps or the agile, that you can set up in cloud quite easily. You can do the full life cycle of the infrastructure, just by code, which is not possible in the on premise, right? For example, now you have a big servers running on the cloud, and those servers are converted into the codes which you have into your githubs or your the repositories as a dr also. So that means this is how the cloud, the benefits of the cloud is, not just only price. And there are
Okay.
many others. There are many others. The key point is, the main thing is, are those benefits, what is the benefit that business is getting. And business gets a lot of benefits when they compare with on premise and cloud, not just the cost.
Okay, so I hope your answer is kind of your question is answered. Okay, so we got another question from Bunmi. I'm really sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Really bad with names, sorry. So he talks about what's the possibility of having all cloud applications potentially containerized in the near future.
What's potentially is yeah, just repeat, sorry.
Okay, so could you please speak to the possibility of having all cloud applications potentially containerized in the near future?
Okay. Okay. So you mean the skill the all the applications are okay. Well, the 100% containerization might not be uh, we will not see, actually, to be honest. If you ask me, we'll not see that all the applications are containerized, and there's no such requirement also that everything will go to container. But yes, container will play to a different requirement, which is a difference in the architectures. For example, the micro architecture, where you are kind of making your one big service into the n number of services, or the micro services, or the nano services. And that for that, containerization is more suitable. So it's again that be it the container, be it the virtual machines, or even there are some different solutions also which are not so popular. But how much is again the business is getting the thing. For example, if you are the microservices, you cannot do into the legacy. That's why you need to come into the containers, right? But 100% containers, I don't see is gonna happen.
Okay, sir. Bunmi, the second question that you have asked, we sir have already covered it in the initial part, but don't worry, we'll be putting this entire episode on our YouTube channel as well at K21 Academy. So post this live, you can go and check it out over there, and we'll also be creating short clips out of the entire session, so you can maybe watch that as well. Don't worry, I'll try to put that out as well. So don't no problem on that part. Okay, so we've got another question, and guys, we are almost coming to an end of this episode. So make sure you ask your questions as soon as possible, because I've seen that usually you guys ask your questions at the very end. So try to ask them as soon as possible, so I can pick them up and none of the questions, kind of get lost on that part. So we got a question from Arav sir. Can you explain any use case for multi-cloud strategy adopted by business?
I think my microphone. You see some problem in the camera, Shivans?
It's
I don't know.
actually now it's getting stuck a little bit, but it's not
Yeah.
a major problem as of such.
Okay. 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 So um, yeah. Can you repeat again, please?
Yeah, sure, sir. No problem. Can you explain any use case for multi-cloud strategy adopted by businesses? Because this is a question that we had asked. We have gotten quite a lot on the post that we did for the live as well.
Okay. So multi-cloud is, yeah, I have hundreds of the use cases, hundreds of the business cases, and that's what we do, right? So mostly, I'll see, all the most enterprises will go to the hybrid, and many of them will go to more than one cloud. Many of them, yeah. And I can give you so many names, right? And the Fortune 100 companies, and all of them are multi-cloud.
Is there any one, sir, that you can mention? Maybe a smaller one that you can explain a little bit.
Yeah, so the question was that is there a use case for the multi-cloud? I would say that many people think that yes, if they do all the basket, and all the eggs in a single basket, they are going to be logged in. So vendor login is one. Many people see that some there are some products which will work on the multi-cloud better than some of the applications they do. And the risk factor also, like many companies, I see that they do the data strategy such that it will touch on more than one cloud for the resiliency point of view, right?
Okay, sir. So I believe we have covered majority of the questions as of such, and I also have just one last question. So if today, let's suppose there is somebody who is just maybe in their college, we have a lot of people coming to us in that particular space as well, or either in just a college, or maybe they're just currently working in the industry as well, but they want to shift to cloud. You yourself, kind of had that similar transition from a non-cloud domain to a cloud, to have quite an elaborative cloud career as a whole. So what do you think would be the perfect approach for them to, kind of get into this new domain on a new career of cloud as a whole?
Okay. Okay, sure. So, in the cloud, if you already know that, what is the most suitable role for you, whether you want it technical or you want the things like architect or FinOps, right? If you are just the fresher, my advice is that go a little bit on the technical, be like, for example, target on the cloud administrator, work there for a couple of years as a cloud administrator, then target on the architect, then target on the enterprise cloud architect. This can be the right one set of option that you might have. The second set of questions, the option might be that first start with the administrator, go to the DevOps. DevOps is those who execute the strategy, right? And then be in the DevOps. Third option might be be a trusted advisor for the companies, for the enterprises, as a advisor or consultant. That's also one option. And all the three options, they have quite many roles within. So it's not that something is smaller than the other. So you have a pretty large window of opportunities in each, for the future growth.
Okay, so we got one question from Subhajit on our YouTube again. So Databricks or Azure Synapse, what should someone pick, and what should be the deciding factor for the either?
Well, these are two different products, right? So
Yeah.
generally, when it comes, I would just generalize it, because when you say the data bricks or data lakes or synapse, these are three different capabilities. One difference might be, for the use cases like AI, adoption of AI. When you have the synapse is more like a warehouse solution, right? Data warehousing, or the larger set of data. And then that's totally, I would say that, on the requirement, what you are going to build, what you are asked to build also. So if you, for example, you want to build from the scratch, why should even go for the managed services? Just get your all the components in IES and build as, so it's a different set of services. And the plus point is, when you have the solution, like, which is the managed services provided by the cloud providers, is more integrated with their other set of services. For example, Synapse with the artificial intelligence, it is more, the ease of integration is there. If you want, the different vendors, then sometimes it's not very easy. But even then, now you'll need to do some development work, right, to integrate those kind of systems.
Okay, so I hope Subhajit, your question is answered now. We are at the end of this session now. So any last pieces of wisdom or advice that you'd like to leave our audience with?
Well, it's on the career perspective, yes, I would say that, get something which others don't have, right? Do a lot of hard work, and let others not see you how much hard work that you can have, how much you can do. So it with this, I wish, best of luck to each one of you. And I don't know how many of you right now, but many of you, I'm sure, are going to be at some point of time in the CXO level, in the CIOs. And try, as much as give back to the society. That's also one of the thing I really want. If you get something from this session, right, try to share what you got, and try to share when you are capable of helping to each other.
Thank you very much, sir. That's quite a really kind of a healthy message as a whole as well. So, guys, thank you very much again. And if you're somebody who's coming from the K21 side, make sure you check Satyan sir's profile out, especially his blog out, because I personally have kind of read a few of it. The language is very kind of easy to understand as well, and you'll relate a lot if you're somebody who's just starting out your career as well. So, highly recommend you do that. And if you're coming from Satyan sir's profile to here, make sure you check our content out as well. We just having a huge sale as well. I'm not going to elaborate on that. You can just check it out yourself at k21academy.com/sale. But please do make sure you check both of our content out as a whole. We put out a lot of free kind of pieces as well, similar to Satyan sir as well. He also put out a lot of blogs as well, very informative blogs as a whole. Somebody who is at a level of at a level of in their career at Satyan sir that kind of indulges a lot of experience as a whole. So you should kind of get indulged in reading such articles as that, because you kind of get those experiences indulged in the form of a blog as well. So make sure you check that out. For that is something that I personally recommend, because I have read that as well. So thank you very much, sir, for taking the time out, and thank you everybody who joined in as well. We're going to be having another session very soon, maybe in the next week or maybe the next to next week, on this particular show, your favorite cloud learning show as a whole, the Ultimate Cloud Learning Show by K21 Academy. So make sure you follow us and make sure you follow sir as well. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.